everyone, and welcome to a new video and another pattern haul, which is primarily what my videos on this channel are going to consist of. In today's video, I'll be going through several dozen Butterick patterns that I picked up in a lot on Facebook. This was actually one of 4 lots that I purchased from the same seller, and I was initially going to go through all of them in a single video, but then I realized that would be way too much. So instead I'm breaking it up by brand, and in this video you will see the Butterick patterns I purchased from them, and then in another video I will show you the Simplicity ones, the mccalls ones, and the advanced ones. In total, I purchased over 100 patterns from the seller, and pretty much all of them were made for larger bust sizes between 38 and 42 inches. And the majority of these patterns were factory folded too. It was a really great lot, I got a really great deal on it, and I'm really thrilled that I got to it first and managed to acquire it. So I hope you enjoy watching me go through the first few dozen patterns from this lot, and I hope you'll subscribe so you can see all of the others. So here are the patterns I'm going to be going through in this video. And as I'm sure I said in the intro, the majority of these are larger sizes, so size 20 through size 42, which is suitable for a 38 to 42 inch bust, which is a size you don't see in vintage patterns too often, which is one of the reasons I was so excited to come across this lot. There are quite a lot to go through, so let's just get started. So at first we have Butterick 7176. It's a really cute dress with this raglan style sleeve, but then the tops of the sleeves actually flare outward to create a collar, which I've never seen before. So this is just very classic, very pretty 1950s goodness. I love the lightly flared skirt. I just find that to be really flattering and really practical for everyday wear. This feels like it might be factory folded in there, and it is in a size 20 for a 38 inch bust. Here's a Butterick one that I might be keeping for myself. This is from the 60s, and it again has raglan sleeves and has a button down front, and you have an option for a fitted or a flared skirt. And this is again a size 20, but since this is from the 60s instead of the 50s, it is made for a 40 inch bust. Another one that feels factory folded, or at least in excellent condition. This one's kind of late 1950s, I'd imagine, and it's in a size 20.5 for a 41 inch bust. Half size patterns are known as petite sizes or stout sizes, depending on who you ask. So they have slightly larger measurements than straight size patterns, and the pieces are cut to be a little bit shorter. This dress has really nice tab details around the collar, as well as around the optional pockets, and it looks like you can have an optional lapel as well. Here's another classic chic 1950s design. This has darts to shape it over the front. You can have a wide sailor style neckline, or you can have a notch neckline, and it also has cute little capped sleeves cut in one with the bodice. And this again feels like it might be factory folded. And that one was a size 20, but it was for a 40 inch bust. This one is clearly from a slightly earlier period because it's also a size 20, but for a 38 inch bust. This is just a very, very simple 1950s button front dress. Again, I really like the shape of this, where it's not super fitted to the point where it messes with your mobility, but it's also not so full that it's cumbersome to wear. It's got a really nice design for the collar as well. This is a Dolman or Kimono sleeve dress. Basically, the sleeves are cut in one with the bodice panel, and it's got these tab details at the neckline that pull the neckline inward to make it look scalloped and shape around the neck. And then it's got a bit of a sweetheart neckline going on as well, and seams at the center front of the bodice and skirt. It says it's quick and easy, and it certainly looks pretty quick and easy based off the 8 pieces. And again, this one feels like it could be factory folded. You have a 1960s Butterick design. I love the illustration for this. The dress just looks like it has so much movement to it. They've really created the effect of the dress having a sheer overlay beautifully. It's very, very neat. But this is a relatively simple flared dress with quite a few seams in the skirt, and it's got a large collar as well. And you can make it with short or balloon sleeves, and this is an 18.5. This is a 20.5 for a very interesting dress. I find that Butterick usually has pretty boring designs, but sometimes one of them really sticks out and surprises me, and this one definitely does. It's got this scalloped detail kind of peplum slash yoke that creates a fitted section at the top of the hips, and then it's got a notched collar, and you can make this with a long or a knee-length skirt, which you don't see super often. This is a size 20 pattern from the 60s, very classic design with a lightly flared skirt, a matching belt, and a pleated neckline that you can have either be a scoop neckline, or you can finish off with this really pretty bow collar. If you've followed me for a while, then you'll know I favor bow collars, but I don't think that's what I'm going to be adding into my own stash. Here we have a double-breasted or asymmetrical design, depending on how many buttons you put on it. And this again feels factory folded. All of these so far have felt like they might be factory folded. And I don't know if you can see, but I really like the way they've done this army green version, how they have the buttons on both sides to make it look like it's double-breasted, whereas for these versions they've gone with more of an asymmetrical look and even have optional scallop details. I also really like how they showed the 2 different views, one out of a very bright kind of floral cotton that could be worn around the house, and then this one that looks a lot more structured and a lot more polished. And they've even emphasized that with the shoe choice, with her wearing flats with the more casual number and heels with the other. This is another Butterick design. This is number 7 100 in a size 20. Feels like it could be factory folded. It's got a pretty V neckline with this little tab detail and a button front and a relatively full skirt. This one says magic to make. I don't know if I've ever seen that labeled on a pattern before, but this is a size 40 jacket pattern with raglan sleeves. Jacket patterns are usually a weakness of mine, but the lack of buttons or structural details on this doesn't make it very appealing to me. But I hope someone else likes it and buys it and lets me know what magic to make means, because that's kind of confusing to me. This is Butterick 8469, size 20 for a 40-inch bust. I really like the wrap details of this and how they've shown it paired with like little ruffle trims or with this contrasting facing sort of going on. I also just really like the blue in the illustration, how the dresses complement each other, but once again show how different this pattern can look depending on what material you pick for it. And again, feels like it could be factory folded. Now here we have a pattern I might be keeping. This in a size 20 for a 38-inch bust. Feels like it might be factory folded, but also feels quite thick. I imagine because there's quite a bit of tissue in there, since this includes both the coat and the dress pattern. I like the dress for this. It's a fitted sheath dress with little pleats at the waist. The bodice is fitted with darts. It looks like the sleeves are cut in one with the bodice, and you've got this optional kind of notch detail around the neckline. But what I really love is that this comes with a matching coat pattern and that the coat has puffed sleeves. I think that's really fun, and that's definitely something that I'd kind of like to have in my wardrobe. This is another one that feels like it could be factory folded. This is a very simple 1950s design, though the style is sort of passable for the 1940s too, and it has wing cuffs and a wing collar and pockets in the side front skirt panels. This guy is a size 20, feels factory folded for a 38-inch bust. This is a really pretty button front dress with an optional kind of faux collar detail to make it look like you're wearing a shirt underneath it, but it's actually part of the pattern itself. Or you can make it without that and just have an interesting facing detail around the neckline. This is one I shouldn't keep for myself because I don't envision myself actually making this, but it's so cute that I kind of want to. This is for a 40-inch bust. It is number 8060. It feels factory folded. You've got a fitted skirt with these inserted pockets. You've got a very deep V neckline or a higher collared neckline. And the way this is made, it lends itself well to using contrasting fabric at the pockets and collar, which I think is neat. It's just a very sleek, chic looking dress, and I would love to look like this model if I made this and wore it, but I don't think I would, so I should probably pass it on. This is a size 42 pattern, which is actually for a 44-inch bust, and this is a fitted dress from the 1960s. It feels like it might be factory folded. The number is 9698. You've got a V-neck and a fitted skirt, a little crossover button detail, and then that detail is actually mimicked at the hem of the bolero, which it also includes a pattern for. This one is in a size 20, and this is a very interesting design for Butterick. I don't know how well it will show on camera, but the front pieces are cut in one. So this is all one piece, and then there's a side piece that ends here that has darts in it to shape it to the body. The back actually ends in a point, and then there is a box pleat that extends from that point in the skirt. So here you can see how interestingly it's drafted. It's very, very unusual. I haven't seen anything quite like that before. Not a design that really appeals to me personally, but definitely one that I can admire for being unique. We have a 1940s Butterick pattern, and this one feels factory folded too. It is a size 42 for a 42-inch bust. You have this wonderful jacket with very bold shoulder pads and then a skirt to make a suit set. This is the first one that doesn't feel factory folded. It feels quite puffy. They call it quick and easy slip in 5 versions. So you can make a softly flared slip, an evening slip with thin shoulder straps, a strapless dress length slip, a feminine view with shoulder straps of ribbon, trimmed beading, lace edged hem, or D, length and a half slip, or E, evening length slip. So lots of slip options there. You could say it's slippery. This is a really interesting Butterick design as well, one that I kind of want to keep for myself. I'll zoom you in a bit so you can see it better. Actually, that's as far as I can zoom you in. But it has this crossover detail that creates pleats underneath the bust, and it's got a seam at the center front, and it has kimono or dolman sleeves, depending on how you look at them. It's got a yoke around the top of the skirt pieces that kind of mimics that bottom wrap design, and then slightly flared below that. It's just really, really pretty, and I've never seen anything quite like it before, so I kind of want to keep it to myself. This is a size 18 for a 36-inch bust, and it's a really cute fitted dress with asymmetrical detail. You got this very large lapel on one side and a much narrower one on the other. The dress also laps over to one side, and then there's also a pocket on that side. I really like asymmetric designs like this where they're very intentionally asymmetric. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And again, feels like it could be factory folded. This is another sort of cool pattern by Butterick. This is in a size 20 and it is number 8051. Feels factory folded and has this really cool scalloped capelet kind of design for it. It's not a capelet, it's cut in one with the dress, but with the sleeveless option, it almost looks like a cape, and that cape detail is cut in one with the front panels. And then it buttons to just below the waist. And you can make this with no sleeves, short sleeves, or long sleeves, and all the variations look pretty awesome. This is a sort of interesting dress design. I don't know, this one doesn't appeal to me too much. It's a bit weird. You've got this crossover kind of tab detail that the collar comes out of. Though looking over here, it appears that that tab detail is optional. It also looks like you can have pocket facings made out of contrasting material. I'm not really sure what's going on with this view actually. I think that's pretty not attractive. It looks much nicer in the blue and red illustrations. And then it's a relatively fitted dress with tucks at the waist. So it's fine, it's just not my favorite. I don't think it was their favorite either because they just describe it as being a slim skirted dress. What an inspired description. This is a really cute design. It's an asymmetrical wrap style dress, feels factory folded, has these super cool tab details in the place of collar. It also has a pocket and then darts to shape it over the waist. It's just really striking, and I think it's really neat how they've used the two different tones to create that collar detail. Feels factory folded, and they describe it as a side swept step in half sizes. So this is in size 20.5 for a 41-inch bust. This one is for a 40-inch bust, and this sort of looks like a modern flannel, kind of like a thick shirt or jacket hybrid with a collar and button details at the cuffs. This one I really shouldn't keep for myself, but oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's got this dart detail at the back, and then it's got a kick pleat at the hem of the skirt, and then it has this tie detail at the collar. You can also make it with a little dicky to create a full collared effect, or just with a v-neck, and it's just lovely. I like it so much, but I shouldn't keep it. I don't think it actually makes that, but it is very, very cute. And I think that's actually the last of the Butterick designs, so maybe the last one we'll go through in this video. This has an inverted box pleat at the back. It's got a very large collar. It buttons down the front. The skirt is fitted and shaped with darts at the waist, and you have inserted pockets. So I think that is it for the Butterick patterns, and I was going to show simplicity patterns in this video as well, but I feel like I've been talking for a long time. So I might go ahead and organize these off camera and then show you the breakdown of how many there are in each size, and that might just be where I end this video. So here everything is. We have one unprinted pattern in a size 42 from the 1940s. We have one 18.5 size pattern from the 60s, one size 18 pattern, one size 16 pattern, and then the rest are larger sizes. This one is for a 44-inch bust. This one's for a 42-inch bust. There are 3 here that are size 20.5 for a 41-inch bust. There's 7 here in a size 20 for a 38-inch bust. And then this pile, which is so tall it has fallen over, are all size 20 for a 40-inch bust. So now that these are organized, I can get them put away in the order that I will count and list them in, and then I can get to counting and listing.